This is 6 News at 5.
We are coming up with the blueprint for what we expect the 2050 transportation needs to look like.
Tonight on 6 News at 5, preparing for what's to come. How Central Texas leaders are now preparing for the future growth of Waco. And the Senate race. Incumbent Ted Cruz leading in the polls ahead of challenger Colin Allred. How likely voters are leaning. Plus, devastation after Milton. A look at Florida after the powerful storm and its mess in its wake. And a very good evening to you, Central Texas, wherever you may be across our viewing area. Thank you so much for joining us on KCEN. And for those that are streaming and watching via 6+. Glad you're here. I'm Chris Radcliffe. Lindsay Lippman is on assignment for us tonight. Well, it's a much calmer scene tonight in Fort Myers, Florida. We're taking a live look right now at the Sunshine State, all thanks to Earth Cam. There's that beautiful bridge. Hurricane Milton slammed into the Florida coast last night, bringing strong winds, heavy rains, and a massive storm surge. Milton also sparked 126 tornado warnings in Florida alone yesterday. That's a record, of course, for the state. Right now, we're taking a live look at the damage left behind after tornadoes touched down long before Milton made landfall. You can see just how widespread that destruction is. The storm leaving a real mess, knocking down fences, pulling up trees, tables scattered, chairs scattered all over the place. One Floridian who rode out the storm shared what it was like at the peak of the hurricane.
Well, it was bad. Once you realized what was happening, it was very scary. It's just, I mean, you know, the wind is violent and the thumping on the roof, the limbs hitting the roof were, you know, like boulders.
And now for the worst news. Authorities say at least a dozen people have died. Millions of people remain without power, and it could take a week or more before that's finally restored. NBC's Alice Barr tells us about the federal response as recovery continues for Helene and only just begins now for Milton.
Daylight bringing a clearer picture of the devastation from Milton. The Category 3 hurricane pounded parts of Florida with high winds and heavy rain.
But it's been a lot over the last few years, just storm after storm.
President Biden receiving updates from the White House Situation Room on the federal response.
I promise you, you have to pick up the pieces still. I want you to know we'll do everything in our power to help you put pieces back together and get all that you need.
The Defense Department is on the ground assisting with cleanup and rescue efforts. There are financial resources available for repairs and long-term needs. For those with immediate concerns, there is an initial $750 payment to help.
Like replacing medicine, replacing food that they lost in their refrigerator. They needed to buy clothes or other essential supplies.
FEMA stressing evacuation orders saved lives.
There were over 90,000 people in shelters, which means people listened and they actually got out of harm's way.
As crews survey the damage, some are relieved it isn't worse.
The word of the day is thankful. They are thankful, as am I, that this storm didn't come through like it was predicted.
Now that Milton has come and gone, the process of recovering and rebuilding begins. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Now, the Category 3 storm tore off the roof at the home of the Tampa Bay Rays. I want to show you this. Here's a look at that damage Tropicana Field sustained in St. Petersburg. Panels of the domed stadium shredded by 100+ mile-per-hour winds. You can only imagine how powerful that was. The playing surface now covered in debris like a salt shaker just tossed it down there. It's not clear if the stadium suffered any structural damage in the storm. They will investigate. And take a look at this. As if hurricanes weren't enough, there's dangers wandering into Florida. Floodwaters. Ho-ho! A person in Fort Myers shot this video of an alligator lunging out of the water. The resident opened the door of their car, surprise, and the gator can be seen biting the car's tire and door as it emerged from the floodwaters. The video is an important reminder to avoid walking through high water following a major storm, especially at night and especially in Florida. Okay, Texas hounds are Carolina bound. That's what one woman here in Temple is helping to achieve. She's gathering animal and pet supplies for the shelters in North Carolina, all in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. 6 News reporter Juliana Jackson is here to help and tells us what donations are needed. JJ, tell us about it.
Chris, after finding out her family is safe in North Carolina, Owner of Moby Dog Pet Salon, Brandy Reese, was scrolling through social media when she saw countless videos of the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Colin in the area. She decided she wanted to help. Brandy has reached out to a local animal shelter in North Carolina to see what supplies are needed. They said anything at this time helps. Brandy says many people care for their pets before they even take care of themselves.
They're like our children. They're important, and I think my heart just breaks because the pets that are out there right now are lost. They're confused, they're scared, they're hungry, and if we can come together and just and even just our little bit of donation make a difference, that's my goal.
With these donations, Brandy hopes to help the local animal shelters in the area, and she says in times like this, it's our way of showing we care. Brandy is taking donations until this Monday, so you can donate at Moby Dog Pet Salon and Spa, Barks and Bliss Animal Clinic, and Granny's Shaved Ice. Tune in later tonight at 6 to hear how one local man is helping take these donations to North Carolina himself. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Julianne. It looks like a terrific effort all the way across the board. Appreciate you. Well, let's talk about our local weather. Let's check your weather impact. Meteorologist Aviana Smith joining us now with our first look at 5 o'clock. Aviana, good to see you. How are you?
I am well, Chris. Great to see you as well. And I'm glad that we're continuing to see beautiful weather here across our viewing area. Still a little warm, though, as we remain above the average in the low 90s. But it felt great. And those morning lows are definitely giving us that fall feel that all of us are waiting for the afternoon. We started off the day in the upper 50s, again, slightly below the average for our overnight lows. No rain recorded across our area. We are continuing to see gorgeous blue skies. And that's what we're seeing right now as we take our live look in Temple. Current temp at 92 degrees. So as we head through the rest of the evening, we're going to remain in those low 90s, feeling like we're in the upper 80s though. And as we continue to see less humid conditions out there for us, winds have calmed down significantly. We were seeing winds up to about 10 miles per hour earlier this afternoon. Now as we step into the early half of our evening, winds are out of the south up to 3 miles per hour. So a light breeze out there, but still very comfortable. And we are still covering Milton right now as it has re-entered into the Atlantic. It's a remnant low, but I will bring you an update on the tropics, because not only will I bring you an update on Milton, but we are tracking new tropical development as well. So I'll bring you that update coming up shortly. Chris.
All right. Thank you very much, Aviana. We do have new information tonight on that double murder in Bruceville-Eddy that took place earlier this week. Just within the last 10 minutes, we have learned a second person has been arrested and charged with capital murder in this case. 30-year-old Alyssa Sevilla was booked into the McLennan County Jail yesterday. Romy Frantescu is also charged with capital murder. Police say Frantescu killed Michael Morris and Braxton Johnson last Saturday. We're expecting a news release with more information on the alleged role that Sevilla played, and we'll have that for you on KCENTV.com and, of course, update you at 6 o'clock. A man is dead in Temple after a homeowner reportedly shot him multiple times after entering his yard. According to Temple police, the victim died at the hospital last night, and there is no threat to the public. 6 News asked police if any charges are expected to be filed, but we couldn't get that answered as this is still under investigation. 6 News anchor Bailey Bates is live in studio tonight to share information on stand your ground laws and when it does or doesn't apply. Bailey, what can you tell us?
Chris, we don't want to speculate what happened in the shooting incident along Luna Lane last night in Temple, but we do know many are wondering if it meets the Castle Doctrine, and it can be complicated if that is the first answer you do want to know. The Castle Doctrine allows a person to use reasonable force, including deadly force, to protect themselves and their property in their home, vehicle, or workplace. But it has to be justifiable. We asked Temple police to clarify what interaction the shooter and the deceased had prior to the shooting last night. And those are some photos of the incident last night that we did receive. Police told us they can't answer a lot right now. It was just 7 months ago that 6 News talked to our legal analyst Liz Mitchell about the Castle Doctrine. She reiterated the law doesn't give you a free path to shoot anyone trespassing.
When we're talking about something such as criminal trespass, someone walking across your yard, hopping your fence, you may use force to remove them, physically remove them from your property. However, there are very few situations that are going to arise where the use of deadly force would be justifiable in that situation.
Texas is one of the 45 states that has a form of the Castle Doctrine. We don't know the identity of this person who has been shot, but those who live in the neighborhood tell me he was always around and was a nice guy. Again, the circumstances of how this unfolded remains unclear, as Temple police have chosen not to release any other information while they do investigate this. We'll bring you any developments as they happen, Chris.
Yeah, I would imagine we'll learn more pretty soon. Thanks for the update, Bailey. All right, politics. Tonight, a new poll shows Senator Ted Cruz leading Colin Allred in the race for the U.S. Senate for the junior seat in the state of Texas. This, according to a recent poll by Marist University, with over 1,000 likely Texas voters being polled. 51% say that they're voting for Cruz, while 46% of likely voters are backing Allred. The majority of voters with a candidate in mind say they strongly support their choice. And if you haven't made up your mind yet, or if you want to learn more about the candidates, you can certainly tune in to the Texas debate with Ted Cruz and Colin Allred. That's next Tuesday at 7 p.m. You can watch it on air right here and, of course, on our 6 Plus app. Well, looking ahead in 2050, people in Waco could see some big changes, from a high-speed transportation system to a 9-mile corridor project to help with natural disasters. The city's future's growth is now in the works. Waco's Metropolitan Planning Organization is hosting a series of public meetings to talk about their 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Be here before you know it, right? 6 News reporter Sydney Deshawn got the chance to attend today's meeting and is here to share the city's plans to accommodate future transportation needs. Sydney, what are they saying?
Yeah, Chris, by 2050, McLennan County is projected to have between 300 and 400,000 people. To keep up with the demand and growth, the city is talking about several roadway improvement projects. There's also been discussion about a hyperloop. That's a shuttle that travels on magnetic rails similar to a train. It would go from Fort Worth to Laredo with a stop in Waco. The city says it's all to take the steps to get to the future we want. Brandy Abel lives in the area and works with people who have special needs and says transportation is the key to their success. She's excited about what's in the works.
Mostly looking at what their future plans are and how eager they are to move forward and to help all of the individuals be successful. It's not just people with disabilities, but it's, you know, the everyday person that just needs to get from point A to point B. And every day these systems are improving. And so we're really happy to be a part of the growth in Waco.
Now, the last public meeting will be on Tuesday, October 15th. That's from 5 to 7 in the evening at the South Waco Recreation Center. Later tonight at 6, we'll hear more details on this plan and its impact from the director of Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization. Chris?
Yeah, I don't want to think about it, but I'm glad you're doing this story, Sydney, because as of January 1st, 2050 is only 25 years away.
Wow.
Yeah,
crazy.
that's unbelievable. Let's hope we're all here. All right. Coming up, the uptrend in gas prices is all thanks to the hurricane. What AAA is tracking when it comes to the price at the pump. And then check your car. Why this manufacturer says more than 1 million cars have a dangerous problem. We'll fill you in with the details. This is 6 News at 5.